Welcome back. The Nifty is now below 22,750 and Mahindra is still the top loser at the lowest point of the day, 6.5% lower now on the stock. Also among the top losers include Adani Ports, Bharat Petroleum and Tata Motors. But speaking of Tata Motors, another Tata Group stock, Tata Steel, where its MD and CEO TV Narendran has called for a strategic policy to address the risks which manufacturing companies are facing due to the global trade shifts. Now, in an exclusive conversation with my colleague Shivani Bajaj, he talks about the US tariff impact on the steel sector and concerns around cheap Chinese steel imports. Listen in.
Most countries and geographies are going to look out for themselves for sure, right? So we as a country obviously need to look out for ourselves. We also need to take a longer term view because supply chains are getting optimized differently. Earlier it was just getting optimized on cost. Now it is getting optimized looking at the strategic value of manufacturing value chains and other value chains. So I think we need to look at it from that perspective. The tariffs in US will impact us directly and indirectly. For whatever we export as a country, it matters what the tariffs are. As Tata Steel, we also export from Europe to the US. So there is a direct impact from that point of view. The indirect impact is whatever doesn't go to the US ends up somewhere else. So which will have a bearing on international prices and it will have a bearing on the margins in India. So I think one needs to really look at this strategically and have a policy which addresses the risks that manufacturing companies and other companies are getting exposed to because of this situation.
Well, sir, you spoke about, the concerns that the steel industry particularly has, and on those lines, what is the status of the anti-dumping duty that the industry has constantly been asking for? What is the timeline? Do you have any sense?
So I think we've represented to the government for some safeguard duties. We've had a lot of conversations with the governments and they're looking at it very seriously. I think there were a number of queries which we've answered as an industry, as Indian Steel Association. So we're hoping that we will have some news sooner than later because this is a problem which has been going on actually for almost 2 years. China has been struggling to recover and has been exporting more than 100 million tons of steel, and its impact is being felt. So I think, and now with the actions being taken by the US government, the situation has become even more dire.
So is there a price difference? Can you give us a sense about the price difference between the Indian steel and the import steel that we currently have?
So I think there are two things we need to look at. If you look at it from a cost point of view, Indian steel is competitive. India is one of the best places in the world to produce steel, and Indian steel industry, which has invested significantly in the last 10 years, has built very modern and efficient steel plants. The different issue is at what prices are people willing to sell, because if you look at the profitability of the Chinese steel industry, it's pretty much negative. Most steel companies in China are losing money. But in India, the steel industry is largely private sector dominated. So unless it's profitable, it doesn't make sense for the steel industry to invest in new capacity. And steel industry has been at the forefront of private sector investment. So I think it's a matter that we need to take a longer view. India is blessed with a lot of iron ore, and there's a great opportunity to convert that iron ore into steel and make it in India.